Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's most famous instruction is also his most important instruction. And what is that? Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalo nastreva, nastreva, nastreva gatir anyata. In this age of Kali, there is no other way, no other way, no other way to attain the goal of our lives, but to chant the holy names of Krishna, chant the holy names of Krishna, chant the holy names of Krishna. Especially the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. However, to get full benefit from chanting Hare Krishna, we have to also follow what is probably his second most famous and second most important instruction. The first most important instruction, to chant Hare Krishna, is very easy. Unless we're very, very demoniac, anyone can chant Hare Krishna. People who are very demoniac, they just won't chant. However much you try to induce them, they'll avoid it. So that's very easy. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's second most famous and important instruction sounds easy, but it's not easy at all for us conditioned souls. What is that? Trinadapi sunichena tororiva sahishnana amanina manadena kirtaniya sada harihi. One should chant the holy name of Hari, Krishna, in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So it's easy to say. You've all memorized this verse, but it can be very difficult because we don't have that conditioning. Our conditioning in material existence is dambho darpa vimanascha krodha parishramevacha agyana. These are the principal symptoms that Krishna gives at the beginning of the description of the demons in Bhagavad Gita. So to a greater or lesser extent, we're all influenced by this pride, arrogance, conceit, dambha, darpa, abhiman, anger, harshness, ignorance. There are so many symptoms of the demon. Of course, you're all devotees, but we come from a background of not being devotees. That's why we're in this material world. But this is the ideal. We should strive for this. In fact, instead of thinking how I want to join Krishna with the gopis, very good. All right, keep that in mind. But what is the key? How can we enter that land of Vrindavan? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives the key. Chunada pisunichena, torariva sahishnuna, amanina manadena kirtaniya sada harihi. What is the qualification for being allowed to join Krishna in his pastimes? We have to awaken love of Krishna. Nitya siddha Krishna-Prema shadha kabunai, shabarnadi shuddha chitte kariye udai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Krishna-Prema is natural within our hearts, but it has to be awakened by the process of hearing and chanting about Krishna. So that is the process. Especially this chanting is always hearing and chanting recommended. So how do we chant in such a way that prem arises? And that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also discussed. We'll find this all in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jai Rupe Loile Nam Prema Upajoy Taha Lakhon Shuno Swarup Ram Rai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking to Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai. In the Gambhira, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at night in Puri, in the Gambhira, would be there with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, and they would discuss so many esoteric topics of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart, how he's pining for Krishna, but we also find these important instructions of the Shikshashtaka verses. So what is the way that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that we can chant? What is the manner in which we can chant in such a way that prem, the pure love of Krishna, will arise in our hearts? And then the answer is Trinada Pisune Chena, Torareva Sahishnana, Amanina Manadena, Kirtanaya, Sada Harihi. For us conditioned souls, we may find it's not easy to follow. Kirtanaya Sada Harihi, the holy name should always be chanted. But we don't have a taste for chanting, so we don't always chant. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu addresses also in Shikshashtaka. Nam nama kari bahudane jasarva shaktis. Tadrar pita niyamitas smaranena kalaha. Etadrishi tavakripa bhagavan mamapi. Durdaiva midrishami hajanina anuraga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays to Krishna that you are so merciful, so very merciful, that you make access to yourself easily available by your holy names. And you have so many names. You make yourself very, very easily available. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada explained this to me, that even names in other cultures, that the Muslims, Christians, Jews, they may also chant other names. So in various ways, Krishna makes himself available by his holy names. But I am so unfortunate, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I have no attraction for chanting. And Srila Prabhupada also translates this in one place as, because I make offenses while chanting, therefore we don't get taste. We don't have a taste, so we don't always chant. And being so humble, feeling oneself lower than grass, is just the opposite of the mentality we've been cultivating for how many lifetimes? We just don't know. Beyond count. We can't trace it. Krishna Bhuli Se Jivan Adi Bahir Mukh. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that we forgot Krishna, and therefore we are in this material existence inimical to Krishna since anadi, without beginning. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, this may seem, well, if you forget Krishna, then how can it be without beginning? Well, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that at some point we turned away from Krishna, but it's so far back, so long, we can't trace it out. We can't trace it out. We've been cultivating non-Krishna consciousness, Krishna Bahimukta, being inimical to Krishna, for zillions of lives. Now, we also you'll find in Srila Prabhupada's early talks in New York, which many of those talks were made into small books. And in one book, The Perfection of Yoga, Srila Prabhupada describes, based on the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that persons who take to Krishna consciousness in this life were very likely practicing Krishna consciousness in a previous life. So we don't start off from the point of zero. Generally, people coming to Krishna consciousness, taking it seriously in this life, means that previously they also practiced it seriously. And we find some devotees from the very beginning of their taking to Krishna consciousness They're very sincere, very serious, very fixed, picking up from their last life. Children who are born to devotees, especially if devotees have deliberately brought those children into the world, didn't happen out of lust. They're sent by Krishna. And we find some devotees, their disposition is naturally humble. That's based on previous lives and their association and training in this life. But we find even among some devotees, they've come to Krishna consciousness, they're practicing, they're doing their best, but their conditioning is such that they tend to be arrogant and difficult to relate to and don't seem to be very humble. Now, often devotees who are pushy and difficult to get on with and all this kind of thing, they can also be, if channeled, the propensities channeled, they can do tremendous service also. Srila Prabhupada chose for his GBC members at that time several devotees who weren't really what you could say very humble by nature. They were very domineering, but they were get things done kind of people, and they did get a tremendous amount of service done under Srila Prabhupada's guidance. But if we have, or devotees who have that conditioning to be tending to be to argue with others, to be arrogant, difficult people. We talk about some people, they're very difficult people, and some take to devotional service and trying hard, but for them to be humble, they have to make a special effort. Otherwise, if they have that tendency to dambho darpa bhimanascha, to be pride, arrogance, conceit, all these things, unless they make a special effort to purify themselves, then they're going to mess up their own spiritual life and maybe that of others. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives advice to all devotees. Urdhva bahu kari kahun shuno saravalok nama sutre gati paro kante eshlok. As he says, not just to devotees, but to everyone. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, raising my hands, I declare, everyone, please hear me. String this verse. That's the verse is Trinada pisu nichena tarori vasahishrana amanina amanadena kirtaniya sadaharihi. So Krishnadas Kaviraj says, string this verse on the thread of the holy name and wear it on your neck for continuous remembrance. It's metaphorical, but the idea is that we chant, that the name comes up physically from the throat. So on our throat should always be the holy name, along with the Trinadapi Sunichena verse. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami goes on to say, Prabhu agyai karo ei shlok acharan, abhashya paibe tabe Shri Krishna charan. This order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishnadas Kaviraj says, to behave in this way, Trinadapi Sunichena. Those who do this will certainly attain the lotus feet of Krishna. So we should always bear this in mind, especially when we all feel, at least sometimes, angry, frustrated, not very devotional in our dealings with others. But we can try to remember this instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whenever we feel ourselves we're just about to speak or act in an unhumble way, we can bring this verse to mind. It's worth the effort because Jai Rupe Loile Nam Prema Upajoy. By this effort to internalize, to live according to the principle, Churnada Pisunichena, Tarari Vasahishana, Amanina Amanadena Kirtaniya Sadaharihi. By this effort, in Krishna-Prema will arise in our heart. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains this verse in the words of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He puts in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Uttam Haya Apanake Mane Trinadham. Even if someone is a great devotee, he considers himself lower than the grass. That's actually the symptom of a great devotee. Then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami goes on to explain, Dui Prakari Sahishita Kari Brikasham. In two ways, such a great devotee has tolerance in the manner of a tree. Brikajena Kartileho Kichuna Bolai. Shukaya Moileho Kare Pani Namagai. Just like a tree, someone comes to cut it, doesn't protest. Or if it's drying up, it doesn't request water from anyone. Jai Jai Magaye Tare Deya Apantan Karma Brishti Shahe Ane Kariye Rakhan. The tree doesn't demand anything from anyone else, even if drying up and suffering. But if anyone wants anything from the tree gives. People come to cut it, take flowers, fruits. It tolerates heat and rain, and not just tolerating, but is protecting others, giving shelter to others. Then again, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Uttam Haya Vaishnav Habe Nirabhiman. So he already said, but he's saying it in another way now, that even though Vaishnav is the topmost, he is not egoistic. Jive Shaman Debe Jani Krishna Adishtan. He gives respect to every living being, knowing that Krishna is in the heart of every living being. Emato Hayajay Krishna Namaloi, Shri Krishna Charan Tar Premupajoy. So in this way, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, if one takes the name of Krishna, in Bengali you say, take the name of Krishna. You can also say the name of Krishna. Take the name of Krishna. Then love for Krishna, prema, that will arise. Love at the lotus feet of Krishna. So we've all discussed this verse many times. Materialistic people don't discuss any such idea. No such idea. But devotees, very, very high, we have a very, very high aspiration. What is our high aspiration? To become lower than a blade of grass. I'm talking about it. Have I reached that stage myself? Am I talking theoretically? No, I haven't reached that stage. Nowhere near it. But I'm inspired by that ideal. And I worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I worship Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. I worship all the devotees who are there. We simply have to beg for their mercy, knowing that by the mercy of such devotees, at some point, I too, if I stick to this path of Krishna consciousness, really trying to internalize Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions, then I too may join the true pure devotees in pure devotional service, because that is our natural situation. It's not natural for us to be egoistic, nasty, rambunctious. Our natural position is to be pure devotee. Jiveswarup Hare Krishna Nityadas. Our natural position is to be humbler than the grass. We can pray. Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed in this way. When, oh, when will that day be mine? Kobe hobe bolo shede namar. He prays. He teaches us to pray in this way. Amarapara dhakuchi. Shuddha name ruchi. Kripa bale hobe. Hridaye shancha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays. When will that day come? When I chant the holy names and my offenses will just go. I won't get rid of all these offenses. Then I'll get taste for chanting the holy names purely. That is possible. That will enter my heart. That will inspire my heart, fill my heart by the mercy of Hari Guru Vaishnava, by the mercy of Bhagavan Krishna, the Vaishnavas, the Gurus. Bhaktivinoda continues. He's paraphrasing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. Chunadi kohino kobe nijay mani, sahishnuta gun hridayete ani, shakale manada, apane amani, hoye ashadibo, nama rashasha. He says that I can actually taste the essence, the taste, the bliss of the holy names when I consider myself lower than the straw in the street. When this quality of tolerance, we are asked to be like a tree. Someone comes and cuts, we don't protest. We're dying of lack of water. We don't beg anyone for that. How do we live? Of course, we have to live practically in this world and maintain these bodies for serving Krishna, but that attitude should be there. Giving respect to others, not desiring respect for ourselves. These are very saintly qualities. We can practice it. Why not? The result will be there. We have to come to that standard at some point. We can't forever remain simply as a neophyte. We shouldn't artificially jump ourselves up into the highest levels. But at the same time, we have to know that I have to go up. How can I go up? By bowing down, praying for the mercy, practicing very seriously. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.